I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Chapter 1-2 of the Radiant Dawn Woman Only Challenge was a nightmare, but at least the game finally gives you access to another woman. Laura is a staff-locked priest who is somehow even more fragile than Micaiah. She has no combat abilities, but her healing will be a massive boon. Her growth rates also look decent for a healer, with high magic, skill and speed, but her defense and resistance growths aren't the best. But that being said, I'm always happy to have another unit that can actually participate in the game. To start off with this atrocious map, we will need to block off the 3 choke points. But that's our first problem, we only have 2 women. But like always, for the first attempt I tried using only women, with Micaiah blocking the door and Laura hiding right behind her. But it was a short-lived attempt. Sadly, like in the previous chapter, men will have to be used as meat shields. But they will only block enemies and lure them to different positions. They will never attack the enemies. I still decided to put Micaiah in the front lines, and she managed to kill an enemy in 3 attacks, getting a nice level up. Frontrunning with Micaiah also became a bit easier, now that I have a priest to heal her. I eventually decided to put Nolan in the front line instead of Micaiah, because I was scared that, well, she would get one shot by the axe guy. Sophie arrives on turn 3, as he didn't get a memo of the challenge run. He is obviously a man, so he will not be used in this playthrough, but he will have some uses, like buffing Micaiah. Sophie and Micaiah start with an A rank support, meaning that if he stands within 2 tiles from her, she gains 2 damage, some accuracy and a void. Sophie is also a thief, but I decided against using any of his skills, like lockpicking and stealing. Sophie and Edward both get swarmed by enemies, as I try to think of a way out of this mess. I use Sophie to lure the enemies all the way to the right, getting him completely surrounded. Nolan clears the way, and Micaiah makes a dash for it with her 5 movement. The enemies free Sophie from his cage, as Nolan seems more juicy to them. Micaiah's life flashes before her eyes, but she's kind of used to this by now. While trying to run ahead, the enemies caught up with Micaiah and eliminated her in 2 attacks. For attempt 3, I tried being more logical with my approach, by sending Micaiah to the top. My plan was to rush to the bottom chest for the Fanny Tome, a special weapon that is only usable by Micaiah, because her current weapon is kind of useless. Sadly, I need 3 attacks to kill the soldier with Micaiah, but that doesn't matter, because the soldier I forgot about attacked her, and the rest is history. Again, I send Micaiah to the top, but this time, Nolan goes with her to ensure that she cannot get attacked from that side. My plan ends up working as Nolan baited all the enemies, and Micaiah just barely survives the round. It was still a tense situation with all the enemies surrounding her, so she and Nolan healed. Sophie also moved closer to increase Micaiah's survivability. But when I ended my turn, something unspeakable happened. Nolan started fighting back. Looking through the video footage, I learned that trading any item automatically equips the first weapon in your inventory. At least the enemies took care of the rule breaker for me, and Nolan got demoted from Brolin. Now knowing that trading may cause game overs, I followed the same steps but avoid any trading. Now Nolan doesn't fight back and takes the hits like a champ. Micaiah also dodges an important attack, thanks to that 15 avoidance granted by Sophie. The other soldier kills himself by attacking Micaiah, and the fighter just straight up ignores her. With the path finally open, I send Micaiah down along with Nolan to defeat the Myrmidon guarding the chest. For the first time in this level, it felt like I was making progress. All that's left now is to kill the Myrmidon, take his chest key, and open the chest.
What the fuck?
I think the game might have a grudge against Nolan after his cheating scandal. In attempt 6, I took things a bit slower because I did not want to rely on luck. Micaiah and Nolan went up the ledge on turn 2, now syncing their arrival with Sophie's. So I attacked the soldier again, Nolan next to her, and this time Sophie as well, so that the soldier dies on his turn. Micaiah gets hit, but because of my men's positioning, she cannot get attacked from another side. Instead of going down immediately, I wanted to clear a few enemies on top, so that I could actually get back up after getting my weapon in the chest. None of the enemies attacked Micaiah, so I instead attacked them. I sent Nolan down alone, so that I could attack the Myrmidon from the high ground. Then on my turn I realized I completely messed up my positioning, I can no longer attack the Myrmidon without exposing Micaiah to too much danger. I knew this run was Jover, so I just risked it to see if I could get really lucky. I tried a few different strategies afterwards to see which one actually clicked. During this attempt, I forgot that the soldier all the way in the back is still in range of Micaiah, so yeah. Attempt 8 was a shock to me. The AI suddenly changed and the enemies ignored Sophe, even ignored Leonardo, to instead gang up on Micaiah and end this attempt early. In attempt 9, I sent Sophe to the right, so that he would lure all those soldiers away from Micaiah. To kill some time while Sophe leads them away, I killed a fighter that was annoying. Like always, I messed up and had to bring Sophe back down to try and salvage this mess. Using Sophe and Nolan, I made a wall that blocks off 2 enemies. I sadly had to break this wall out of fear of Nolan dying. Unfortunately, Sophe's adventure to the right brought an archer to the mix. But for the first time ever, I saw Sophe's guard skill actually proc, and redirect a lethal blow away from Micaiah, towards him. I didn't know how to feel about this. I banned myself from using Sophe's steal and lockpick skills, but guard procking felt like some divine intervention. I decided to continue with the run, primarily because guard is a passive skill, not something I physically used. But that decision felt like karma because the archer ended my run anyways. Sophe went completely to the right this time, but sadly I took too long to capitalize on the fact that there are less enemies. I was close to leveling up, so I got rid of this fighter, but it really wasn't worth it after this level up. When she can, Laura spends her turn healing Edward to grind some XP. While Sophe is continuously assaulted by the doorway, I move Micaiah downwards, closer to the chest. On turn 6, I start fighting the soldier, blocking the ledge. Then for some reason I moved Nolan to the left, completely ruining my structure. I managed to fix my structure by moving Leonardo out of the enemy range, and it worked. I clearly wasn't moving fast enough, and Sophe had come dangerously close to death. But then came turn 8, the straw that broke the camel's back. Archer reinforcements, right next to the guys, prone to getting one shot. Laura didn't have enough movement to escape. Edward was still acting as a floodgate, and Sophe was probably gonna die the next turn. Nolan gets moved down and I pray for a miracle, but that wasn't gonna happen. New attempt, new strategy. Instead of rushing for the chest with just Micaiah, I rush for the chest with my entire army. Speed is clearly the key to beating this chapter, so I want to move as far as I can with each unit, each turn. I then immediately messed up and put Nolan on the one tile that Laura could reach. I did get lucky with Edward, dodging a lethal attack, giving me one extra turn to escape. Micaiah lacked exactly 1 damage and was unable to clear the path. But it became apparent very quickly that I overestimated the movement of tier 1 units, and underestimated the amount of enemies that could reach me. But yeah, this run really wasn't meant to be. While attempting this chapter, I made a list of all the plans that work and don't work. And after 11 game overs, I finally felt confident in the strategy I cooked up, which will rely somewhat on luck, but I wanted to go all out. Yup, through all the lucky dodges and close game overs, but ended up killing my run whilst running out of weapon uses before getting the chase key. I physically can't continue with the run, so I let the game force a restart. I had enough of this dumb level, but I didn't know what to do to actually complete it. My monkey brain then finally clicked, and I realized that I didn't need Software to the right. This one tile at the bottom is actually safe and out of most enemy ranges. This was a huge discovery. Having Software come down to help with the successful retreat of Laura, Edward and Leonardo, instead of getting surrounded and dying, sounded to me like a solid plan. I count my weapon uses this time to plan out my attacks better, and to ensure I have enough attacks left to get the key. I eliminated 2 fighters, and now I have enough space and safety to enact my retreat plan. Firstly, I use Sophie, Nolan and Micaiah to wall off the soldier. This buys enough time for Leonardo and Laura to escape to the top ledge, while leaving Edward down at the bottom. Now that Leonardo is above, Sophie and Laura move down to rescue Edward out of there. I accidentally lure in another soldier, and thereafter the reinforcements arrive. I had to keep all the enemies stuck at the doorway where Edward is, but he'll die if he stays. So I run away with Edward, and I position Sophie near the door and rescue Laura. I got lucky again, and Edward survived the archer reinforcements. But now all the pieces were in place, and all I had to do was get the hell out of there. Micaiah needs Sophie to 2-shot the soldier blocking the chest. So, for now, Leonardo and Micaiah will block the soldier, while everyone else runs for their life. And, just like that, everyone has escaped to the higher ground, but we're not done yet. There were still 9 enemies trying to kill us, and I needed that Fanny tome in the chest. But the plan from here on out was simple. I used Nolan and Sophie to hold off the swarm of enemies, and Micaiah gets their new weapon and kills the required enemies. A massive queue forms before Nolan and Sophie, while the path to the chest opens. With just enough weapon uses, I defeat the Myrmidon and get the chest key. I opened the chest for the Fanny tome, an incredibly strong light weapon that has high accuracy and triple damage against armor and cavalry. Since there is way too many enemies that Nolan and Sophie are holding off, I ignored them and instead focused on preserving my new tome and finishing the level as quickly as possible. The last 2 obstacles in our way is the archer and the soldier, but killing them one by one shouldn't really be too much of a hassle, and in the process we can check out the Fanny animation. The soldier falls, and so does the archer. Not wanting to test my luck with the boss, I reached the victory tile with Laura and end the map in 13 attempts. This level sucked, and I want nothing further to do with it. Goodbye.